The ice in his glass had melted into cloudy water by the time the manager finally looked his way. Marcus noticed it because small details always stuck with him. The condensation ring spreading across the dark wood table. The low buzz of a phone vibrating somewhere nearby. The way the couple standing beside him avoided his eyes, acting like he wasn't even there. "You can't sit here," the woman said again, louder this time, her voice tight with irritation. Marcus didn't raise his voice. He didn't even stand up. He just looked around the restaurant he'd helped build brick by brick, idea by idea, and said quietly, "I own this place." The music didn't stop, but something else did. The room itself seemed to hold its breath. Marcus had learned early that money didn't change how people saw you as much as they thought it did. It just changed where those moments happened. Tonight, it was happening in downtown Chicago, inside a restaurant that smelled like roasted garlic and lemon peel, the kind of place where reservations were booked weeks out and every plate looked like it belonged on someone's social media story. The lighting was low and warm, designed to make everyone look a little softer than they felt. Marcus sat alone at the VIP table near the back. He preferred it that way. No entourage. No announcements. Just a clean jacket, dark jeans, and the quiet comfort of being somewhere familiar without having to explain himself. The table had his name on the reservation. It always did. But names didn't mean much when faces didn't match expectations. The couple had arrived late. That much was clear from their body language. The man kept checking his watch. The woman kept glancing around like the room owed her something. When they spotted the empty-looking VIP section, their relief was obvious. "This must be it," the man said, already pulling out a chair. Marcus cleared his throat gently. "Hey, I think that table's taken." The woman turned, her smile stiffening when she saw him sitting there alone. Her eyes flicked over him quickly, not rude enough to be obvious, but fast enough to land somewhere else. "Oh," she said. "They told us VIP was open." Marcus shook his head. "It's reserved." "For who?" the man asked, his tone casual but sharp at the edges. "For me," Marcus replied. That should have been enough. Usually, it was. But tonight, it wasn't. The woman laughed, not kindly, not cruelly either. Just dismissive. "Look, we've had a long day. Can you just move? We'll grab you a drink at the bar or something." Marcus felt the familiar tightening in his chest. Not anger. Not surprise. Just the tired recognition of a moment he'd lived through too many times, dressed up in different clothes, different places, different smiles. He glanced at his phone. A missed call from his sister. A voicemail from his assistant reminding him about a morning meeting he already planned to skip. Another message from his therapist he hadn't replied to in days. People assumed wealth insulated you from loneliness. In truth, it often made it quieter, not smaller. "Please get a manager," Marcus said calmly. The woman rolled her eyes. The man sighed like Marcus had personally ruined his night. As they waited, Marcus drifted, the way his mind often did in moments like this. He thought about the early years. The warehouse office with flickering lights. Sleeping on a couch because rent felt like a gamble. Pitch meetings where investors leaned back in their chairs and explained his own ideas back to him like they were new. He remembered being told he was impressive for his background. He remembered learning to smile through it. When the manager finally approached, breathless and apologetic, the couple spoke first. "This guy's refusing to move," the woman said. "We were told this table was available." The manager glanced at Marcus, then at the reservation tablet in his hand. His eyes widened slightly. "Oh," he said. "Marcus, I didn't realize you were already here." The shift was subtle, but Marcus noticed it. The posture change. The softened tone. The respect that appeared only after recognition arrived. "That's fine," Marcus said. "I just want to sit and eat." The manager nodded quickly. "Of course. I'm so sorry about the confusion." The woman frowned. Wait, What's going on? Marcus met her eyes then. Not with pride. Not with anger. Just with honesty that felt heavier than either. I own the place, he said. No dramatic pause. No raised voice. Just truth. Silence followed. The kind that makes people suddenly aware of themselves. The couple apologized awkwardly and stepped away, their confidence dissolving into embarrassment. The manager offered free drinks. Marcus declined. As he sat back down, the weight settled again. Not the weight of the moment, but the accumulation of them. The reminders that success didn't erase assumptions. That respect was still conditional. That being seen often required explanation. Marcus took a sip of his watered-down drink and stared at the table surface, at the faint scratch he remembered from opening night, when a chair leg scraped too hard and everyone laughed it off. He wasn't angry. He was tired. Tired of proving. Tired of correcting. Tired of moments that reminded him how alone success could feel. And yet, beneath it all, there was something else. A quiet resolve. The same one that carried him through empty offices and silent phones years ago. He stayed. He always stayed. Marcus didn't leave right away. That surprised even him. He finished the meal slowly, barely tasting it, watching the room instead. The couple avoided his section. The manager checked in twice more than necessary. A server refilled his water without making eye contact, like the moment had rattled everyone just enough to linger. When Marcus finally stood, the chair made a soft scrape against the floor. A sound that shouldn't matter, but did. It reminded him of how visible everything felt when you were alone. Outside, Chicago was cold in that sharp, honest way. The kind that didn't pretend to be charming. He pulled his coat tighter and stood under the awning, waiting for the car he hadn't called yet. That's when his phone buzzed again. Not his assistant. Not his sister. Unknown number. He let it ring once, then answered. Hello. Hey, a woman said. Her voice was steady but careful. This is Lena. I work there. I was your server. Marcus leaned against the brick wall. Okay. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry about earlier. Not the mix-up. The way it all happened. I could tell it wasn't really about the table. He didn't respond right away. He watched his breath cloud the air. You didn't have to call, he said finally. I know, she said. I wanted to. That stopped him. People apologized all the time. Publicly. Loudly. Often for show. This was different. Quiet. Unnecessary. Human. Thanks, Marcus said. I appreciate it. There was a pause. He could hear street noise on her end too. A bus sighing to a stop. Someone laughing nearby. Can I ask you something? Lena said. He hesitated. Sure. How do you do it? She asked. Stay calm like that. I mean, most people would have snapped. Marcus smiled faintly, though no one could see it. Practice. She laughed softly. Not amused. More relieved. Yeah, that makes sense. Another pause. I grew up on the South Side, Lena said. My dad used to tell me not to expect fairness from rooms that weren't built for us. Watching that tonight just reminded me. Marcus closed his eyes briefly. Your dad sounds smart, he said. He was, she replied. He passed last year. I'm sorry, Marcus said and meant it. Thanks, she said. Anyway, I won't keep you. I just didn't want the night to end like that. It didn't, Marcus said. Not completely. After they hung up, he stood there longer than he meant to. The car arrived. He waved it off. Decided to walk instead. He cut through quieter streets, hands in pockets, head down. The city felt less sharp now. Still cold. Still loud. But not as heavy. When he reached his building, he noticed a light on in the apartment across the hall. He rarely saw his neighbors. Schedules rarely lined up. As he unlocked his door, the woman across the hall stepped out, juggling a grocery bag that was clearly too heavy. "Hey," Marcus said instinctively, catching the bag before it tipped. "Oh, thank you," she said, startled. She was maybe late 30s, tired eyes, hair pulled back like she'd given up on it halfway through the day. "No problem," he said, handing it back. She laughed quietly. "I keep telling myself I won't buy canned soup in bulk. I never listen." "Soup loyalty is hard to break," Marcus said. She smiled. "A real one." "I'm Rachel," she said. "I think we've nodded at each other for 2 years." "Marcus," he replied. "Yeah, we're great at nodding." They stood there awkwardly for a second, then she sighed. "Long day." "Yeah," he said. "You." "Always," she said. "Single mom. Night shifts. Tonight I lost a debate with myself about cooking." Marcus nodded. He didn't say he understood. He just listened. "Well," she said, shifting the bag. "Thanks again. Good night." "Good night," Marcus replied. Inside his apartment, the silence greeted him like it always did. Clean. Expensive. Empty. He set his phone down, then picked it back up. He listened to his sister's voicemail this time. Nothing urgent. Just checking in. Asking if he was okay. Saying she missed him. He sat on the couch instead of his office chair. That was new. Later, he texted Lena a simple message. "Thanks again. You made the night lighter." She replied almost instantly. "Anytime. We all need that sometimes." Marcus stared at the screen longer than necessary. For the first time in a while, he didn't feel like the moment at the restaurant defined the day. It was still there. Still real. But it wasn't the only thing anymore. Sometimes change didn't come as a breakthrough. Sometimes it came as a phone call you didn't expect. A neighbor you finally spoke to. A reminder that being seen didn't always require proving anything at all. And that, quietly, mattered. Marcus woke before his alarm, the city still half asleep outside his windows. Gray light pressed in through the glass, flat and honest. For a moment, he lay there staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of the day before settle back into his chest. That happened more often than he liked. Moments passed, conversations ended, but the feelings stayed behind like furniture you never quite learned how to move. He swung his legs out of bed and stood there longer than necessary, phone in his hand. No new messages. No emergencies. Just the quiet hum of a life that looked full from the outside. In the kitchen, the coffee machine beeped while he stared at nothing. His reflection in the microwave door looked older than he remembered. Not tired exactly. Just worn in places no one could see. On the way to the office, his driver asked if he wanted music. "No," Marcus said. "Thanks." Silence felt easier lately. Or maybe louder. He couldn't tell anymore. The office sat in a renovated building with exposed brick and polished concrete floors. People smiled when he walked in. Respectful. Polite. Careful. The kind of smiles that didn't ask questions. In a meeting room, he listened as his team discussed numbers, timelines, growth projections. He nodded in the right places. Offered feedback when expected. He was good at this. He always had been. But halfway through, something in him drifted. He saw the couple at the restaurant again. The way the woman's smile collapsed. The way the apology came too late to matter. He thought about how easily people filled in blanks when they thought no one important was watching. "Marcus." He looked up. Everyone was waiting. "Sorry," he said. "Go ahead." The meeting continued, but the feeling followed him. By lunch, it had grown heavier. He ate alone in his office, pushing food around the plate. His phone buzzed. A message from Lena. "Hope today's better than last night." He typed back, deleted it, typed again. "It's fine. Just busy." The lie sat there between them, quiet and familiar. After work, he didn't go home. He drove aimlessly, letting traffic decide where he ended up. Eventually, he pulled over near a small park wedged between apartment buildings. Kids played on a worn basketball court. A man walked a dog that looked older than both of them. Marcus sat on a bench and watched. This was the part no one warned you about. The part after success settled in. When the adrenaline faded and all that remained was space. Too much space. He thought about the warehouse years. How exhaustion had felt clean back then. Earned. How loneliness had been temporary, always postponed by the next goal. Now, there were no immediate fires to put out. No one telling him he couldn't sit at the table. He already had the table. Owned it. And yet, something inside him kept asking the same question. What now? His phone rang. His sister this time. Hey, she said. You okay? He exhaled. I don't know. That surprised them both. There was a pause. Then, gently, do you want to talk about it? I don't even know what it is, Marcus said. I keep thinking if I fix one more thing, it'll feel different. And it never does. She didn't rush to answer. She never did. You've been surviving for a long time, she said. Maybe you never stopped. Marcus closed his eyes. That landed harder than anything else had all day. That night, back in his apartment, he stood in the doorway longer than usual. The silence felt heavier now, almost accusing. He turned on lights he didn't need. Let the room fill up with artificial warmth. He replayed moments in his head. Meetings. Apologies. Compliments that felt hollow. Praise that never touched the parts of him that hurt. He realized something then, sitting alone on his couch. He had built a life where no one could hurt him easily. And in doing so, he'd also built a life where no one could reach him. That truth sat in his chest, sharp and uncomfortable. His phone buzzed again. A message from Rachel across the hall. Hey. Random question. Do you want some soup? I made too much. Again. Marcus stared at the screen. He could ignore it. He usually did things like this alone. That had been the rule. That had been the safety. Instead, he typed back. Sure. Thanks. A few minutes later, there was a knock. Soft. Not demanding. Rachel stood there holding a container, hair still pulled back, tired but smiling. Promise I'm not making this a thing, she said. Just soup. Marcus stepped aside. I appreciate it. They sat at his kitchen counter, not talking much. The soup was simple, warm, real. For the first time that day, his chest felt less tight. As she stood to leave, Rachel paused. You know, you don't always have to be okay alone. After she left, Marcus stood in the quiet again. But this time, it felt different. Less empty. More honest. He didn't have answers yet. But he finally had the right question. And that was the breaking point. The next morning didn't feel lighter. It felt clearer. Marcus noticed the difference as he stood by the window, coffee cooling in his hand, watching traffic inch along below. Nothing had changed on the outside. The city still moved at its usual pace. His calendar was still full. The weight was still there. But it wasn't sitting in the dark anymore. He texted his assistant and canceled 2 meetings that didn't matter. Not forever. Just for today. That alone made his chest tighten with guilt, then relief. He realized how rare it was that he gave himself permission to pause without earning it first. He took the stairs instead of the elevator. Walked instead of being driven. Small choices. Quiet ones. The kind that didn't announce themselves but still counted. At a corner cafe, he ordered coffee and stood off to the side, watching the barista juggle too many orders with forced cheer. When she called his name, she mispronounced it. Marcus didn't correct her. He smiled and thanked her anyway. Outside, he sat on a bench and checked his phone. A message from Lena. How's today treating you? He considered the question longer than necessary before replying. Different. In a good way. She responded with a simple thumbs up and a coffee emoji. That made him smile more than it should have. Later, he knocked on Rachel's door. Not because he needed anything. Just because it felt right. "Hey," he said when she opened it, surprise flickering across her face. "I wanted to say thanks for last night. The soup. And the company." She waved it off. "It was nothing." "It wasn't," Marcus said. "To me." They stood there for a moment, neither rushing to fill the space. "Well," she said, "if you ever want more soup, you know where I live." "I do," he said. "And if you ever need help carrying groceries." She laughed. "Deal." That afternoon, Marcus went back to the restaurant. Not to prove anything. Not to make a statement. Just to sit. The same hostess greeted him. This time, she recognized him instantly. The same table waited. The same lighting softened the room. As he settled into the chair, he noticed the condensation forming again on his glass. The ring spreading slowly across the wood. He let it happen. When the manager stopped by, Marcus thanked him and meant it. When a nearby table glanced his way, he didn't flinch. He didn't need to. The couple from the other night wasn't there. That was fine too. He realized then that the moment that once felt so heavy no longer defined him. It had simply revealed something he needed to see. That respect given only after explanation was fragile. That ownership without belonging felt hollow. And that self-worth didn't come from correcting rooms that misunderstood you. It came from choosing where you stayed. That evening, Marcus called his sister back. "I'm okay," he told her. "Not fixed. Just present." "That's enough," she said. When he returned home, the hallway lights flickered on automatically. Rachel's door was closed. Someone laughed inside. Life continued, parallel to his, no longer sealed off. Marcus unlocked his door and paused before stepping in. 4 years he had measured success in numbers, buildings, influence. All the things that couldn't sit with you in the quiet. Now, the win was smaller. Answering the call. Accepting the soup. Letting people see him without explanation. He turned off his phone and sat on the couch, the city humming outside. And for the first time in a long while, the silence didn't feel like absence. It felt like space. Space to breathe. Space to belong. Space to start again, not as a billionaire or an owner, but as a person who finally understood this one simple truth. You don't have to own the room to deserve a seat in it. If this story connected with you, share the moment that changed how you see yourself. Someone else might be waiting to feel less alone.